this afternoon's salute to the flag on behalf of Ruth Ann Adams Martinez and her talented musicians and vocalists that she's assembled. We extend you a patriotic welcome as we join us this afternoon for our salute to the flag. Now, in a few moments for the opening ceremonies, Cub Scouts from Pack 508, which is attached here to SFC, will be leading us in the posting of the colors. We ask that you follow their commands and remain standing as they lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the Star-Spangled Banner sung by in the beautiful rendition of Alejandra Olivas and Ken Johnson on the piano. Ali, would you please come forward and lead your Cub Scouts in the posting of the colors?
Color Guard advance. Cub Scout salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color Guard, post the colors. Color Guard dismissed.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets with glee, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. On the screen, you see a field of blue. The blue represents our country as a whole, and it symbolizes unity. Now, these ideals are best expressed in our Declaration of Independence. It reads, "We hear these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they're all endowed with certain inalienable rights under their Maker. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Now, our flag has 50 stars. They stand for the 50 states in our nation. Is there anybody out there that remembers when the flag only had 40 stars? See some hands going up. Yep. Back in 1959, President Dwight D. Eisenhower added 2 more stars to our flag for Hawaii and Alaska. Now, Betsy Ross was the designer and the creator of our flag. When she married her husband, he had an upholstery business, and she was happy sewing in his business. He went off to fight in the Revolution, and she stayed behind sewing banners and flags. And then one day she received one of those letters from the government, and inside was the words KIA, Killed in Action. She'd only been married 3 years, and it was a very sad time, but her spirits were uplifted one day when General George Washington and a couple of his aides came to see her and asked her if she would help design the American flag. Well, General Washington had an idea. They all had ideas. And he wanted to put British stars on the flag, the 6-pointed stars. Well, Betsy was adamant. There was no way she was going to put 6-pointed stars on a flag after all, her husband died serving the nation that now had this flag. So she immediately took chairs, folded the fabric, and showed George Washington how she could cut 5-pointed stars out of fabric. And so our flag has our stars have 5 points. And each of those points stand for something. The first point, the tallest, stands for loyalty. And the third, across from industry, is cooperation. And that's our cooperation between states and among our states. And the last 2 stand for energy and thrift. These 5 points, loyalty, industry, cooperation, energy, and thrift, symbolize the freedom that Betsy Ross felt in creating this flag. They also discussed that we had 13 colonies. So as a result, there were 13 stripes added to the stars. And red stripe stands for bravery and valor, while the white signifies purity and innocence. And now it's time to ring in a musical number. And let's invite Ruth Ann Adams Martinez, because she has a bell-ringing rendition of Yankee Doodle. So take it away, Ruth Ann. I don't believe I've ever heard so many variations of Yankee Doodle. I don't think he will ever be the same. The first red stripe on our flag stands for heritage. Ours is a young country with a very rich heritage. The Pilgrims came in search of religious freedom. They were followed by the Puritans. Both suffered many hardships, but they accepted their shortcomings and they joined together to preserve and develop a democracy which has become our republic. The first white stripe stands for our possessions, and they're scattered thousands of miles over the Pacific Ocean. These islands in the northern Pacific include Guam, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the Mariana Islands. And in the southern Pacific, we have Samoa. Now, the red stripe stands for resources. You know, below our land is a lot of minerals. And we are blessed with very rich, fertile soil for agricultural products. But it was in our manpower that the pioneers developed and created the Industrial Revolution. And we lived under that period of time for many, many decades. And now we have technology with unlimited resources, and some of you carry it around in your pockets or in your hand. And recently, we have this thing called AI, artificial intelligence. It's amazing how fast we're going. President George W. Bush, in his State of the Union address, said America's greatest resource, however, is the spirit of its volunteers. Our nation survives on volunteers. When I look out at this audience, I see many of you who volunteer in different organizations within the companies. We exist by volunteering. And we have our volunteers here today who are providing the program. But did you know volunteers live longer? So maybe that's why we're all doing this. I don't know. You know, we have unpaid volunteers, but we also have paid volunteers. For the past 60 years, our military consists of volunteers. Now, there's many resources that we need to think about, and one of them is our highways and byways. I think it's time for Kyle Logan and Allie Oval to come forward and sing about those highways and byways with a John Denver classic, Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. All my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country road, take me home to the place I
I hear her voice in the morning, she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday.
Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.
Didn't you feel like you just wanted to ride along with them? Her next white stripe stands for justice. The USA is a land of justice for all. The Pilgrims realized the necessity for laws, so they developed the Mayflower Compact. Now, good citizenship requires respect for the laws and for the people who enforce them. You know, one of the ways Cub Scouts earn points, and sometimes it's patches on their uniform, or as they get older, merit badges. Cub Scouts have that opportunity today by participating in this ceremony. So would all the Cub Scouts stand so we can acknowledge you and thank you, and your leaders. That includes den mothers and Kyle. It even includes a den dad and their Cub Master, Jeremy Cieslak. That Cub Scout pack is attached here to the church. It's chartered by the church. And so we thank you all for being part of the ceremony today. You know, it's their leaders that we thank the most, because you are the ones that are helping to build our young leaders of tomorrow. The next stripe stands for brotherhood. All are created equal in this land of brotherhood. We're all entitled to the same rights and privileges, regardless of race, creed, or color. The white stripe stands for liberty. It's the heart of democracy. And at the gateway of America, we have the Statue of Liberty holding her torch high, representing our freedom and independence. America is a land of liberty for all. Now sit back. You will have an opportunity to listen to this sounding music. The melodic tones of Naomi Timmons as she plays My Country 'Tis of Thee, accompanied by Nathan Chan. And Kyle, I guess you're going to finally sing us that solo afterwards, right, that you promised on Sunday morning? We'll wait. Little did I realize that when I introduced Naomi Timmons with Melodic Song, we would hear All Lang Syne played in such a relaxing way, too. Beautiful, both of you. Red stands for security. Our American flag is an emblem of security for those who live, work, and serve wherever wherever Congress flies it, and there are plans that our government has that are related to our security. Not only our individual security, but our national security. Now, I think it's significant that the first long white stripe under our flag is that of religion. It borders the field of blue. The field of blue represents our nation as a whole, and it was founded on religious freedom. All religions have a right to worship as they wish under the flag of the United States. The freedom to worship was bought at a great price, but it is our inheritance to preserve and defend. Our national creed sums up that freedom in 4 simple words. They're on our coins. In God we trust. Now, our choir has already assembled in their lovely harmonic loft here. And Kim Johnson is going to play, and they're going to lead us in singing, so you all have to participate and sing, God Bless America. Thank you, choir. And thank you to all of you for joining them. Once again, we have the privilege of listening to Naomi Timmons' melodic tune and her sweet-sounding notes on the flute. While Nathan tickles those ivory keys on the piano, she will play God of Our Fathers. Thank you both. Another amazing rendition. You know, the next red stripe on our flag stands for knowledge. Education, I mean. And knowledge is power. Our country prospers because our citizens are given every opportunity to substitute understanding for ignorance. From elementary to high school, education is free. And we have the ability to go on to colleges and universities and gain other degrees that expand our knowledge. Knowledge is power. The white stripe stands for health. A strong nation is a healthy nation, and our government considers the health of its citizens of utmost importance. The next red stripe is listed on our Declaration of Independence. It's for happiness. Every American has the right to happiness. Now, our country provides many leisure activities, excellent celebrations like 4th of July, or what about this afternoon with the music that's being shown here? And there have many other opportunities that we can enjoy our leisure hours, and they're shared with others. But what better way to share your leisure activity than with an all-American hometown band? Brianna and Ruth Ann are a perfect duo as they perform, plus Nathan on the piano. He's having a good time getting up and down these stairs. He's getting his exercise in today. So will you all strike up the band? Now, have you ever heard of a bell-ringing band before? Amazing. The next white stripe stands for beauty. America is a land of scenic beauty. What a rich and beautiful continent we are privileged to inhabit. Foreigners come from across the oceans just to see our national parks. And we are also blessed with many man-made treasures, like the lovely sounding music you've heard this afternoon by these talented singers and musicians, colorful art in our museums, drama in our theaters, and poetry. But the greatest beauty of all is the human companionship we have with one another, the friendships we share in this glorious land. The last red stripe stands for opportunity. It's the sum total of all the other gifts we Americans enjoy under the stars and stripes. There is no limit in the advancement an individual can make if they're filled with passion, the desire, and the determination to make it work and make it the most of our lives. Now, the choir is already in their heavenly harmonic nest, and I think it's time to have Ken Johnson join him on the piano, and Nathan's going to get another chance to walk across the front and join him on the organ as they sing. And will you join them in Catherine Lee Bates' beautiful song that she wrote when she visited Colorado Springs in 1893, America the Beautiful. Choir, will you lead us? Thank you, choir, and thank you, audience, for participating. Now, as the choir returns to their seats, let's take a moment and let's honor the men and women who took the oath to defend our country. They took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. Our flag represents these values to all veterans. That flag is worn on their military uniform. It's flown over bases. It's carried into battle, and it's covered over coffins. This afternoon's salute to the flag would not be complete without a salute to our veterans. So at this time, I would like to ask all veterans of the United States Army, and that includes their wives and girlfriends. Thank you. Child or a parent or have a relative in the Army, thank you. We appreciate and thank you for your service. And now, will all the veterans of the United States Marine Corps please stand? Are there any relatives or anybody here, or are you related to anyone who has ever served in the Marine Corps? You know, it's interesting that each of our services have components with them, the Guard and the Reserve. We have not only the full-time active duty soldiers, but we have men and women who serve regularly, monthly, and different times of the year in the Guard and the Reserve. And they're all part of our military. And now, let's go to Anchors Away, the United States Marine Corps. Navy. Whoops, I blew it. And I knew he was going to stand. Thank you. Are there any family members? If there's anything I know, Ken's told me about serving in the Navy. So thank you all for your service. And off we go now with the U.S. Air Force. Anyone with the U.S. Air Force here? Thank you. You know, even if you're a family member, you're part of the service. You're at home, you're waiting. Your children don't get to have their parent, whether it's dad or mom, at a birthday party or a graduation or some of those important events. So serving in the military is definitely a family thing. And out of the Air Force, there's a new command that was just inaugurated. In 2019, it's called our Space Command. Is anybody here with the Space Command or have a relative in the Space Command? You know, it's interesting because right outside 101 is NASA Ames. So if any of you have ever been employed by NASA Ames or were a part of it, I see a hand in the back. Thank you for your service. Thank you. You helped inaugurate the Space Command. And last but not least, patrolling our shores, United States Coast Guard. Anyone from the United States Coast Guard here? You know, Nathan's very softly been playing the Atlanta Monthly newspaper. She sent that poem, the words to the song, Battle Hymn of the Republic. She received a whole $5 for that poem. Nathan, will you take it away and open those pipes on the organ and play us your rendition of the Battle Hymn of the Republic? Didn't you just want to march with him in that part? I think we all did. You know, programs like this don't happen automatically. Yes, each vocalist, each musician, their own individual parts. But it only works when there's a behind-the-scenes team. And that behind-the-scenes team is what makes this happen. And up in the balcony here in the back is Brian, who's constantly jumping from one microphone to another and probably wonders where one of us is going to be standing next. And accompanying him is Eric Storm, and Tony Bishop, who've been dealing with the technical aspects of it, switching things back and forth and making it work. So we want to acknowledge them at this time and thank them, along with Debbie Sturm, who works in the office here in a little cubicle all by herself. And she printed out all of our programs for today. Now, there'll be a reception on the patio later. And there've been some people out there putting it together for you. So they might have missed some of the songs. So be sure and thank them when you're out there. And now, to retire our colors is the Cub Scouts from Troop 508. And will Thomas Yan please come forward for the retiring of the colors?
Attention, will the audience please rise? Color guard, advance. Color guard, retire the colors. Cub Scout salute. Two. The audience may be seated.
Some pretty little guys for such a big flag, but they certainly did a great job. If you thought you heard some great music before, well, get ready for a wow. You know, John Philip Sousa is arriving in the form of Scott Summers, Nathan Chan, Anna Lynn, who I forgot to mention before when she was accompanying Ruth Ann, and Ruth Ann Adams Martinez. And you are ready to hear John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever. please join us for a reception on the patio. And thank you, Nathan and Ruth Ann, all of you who participated today. And most of all, thank you for coming. You know, if you all didn't come, there wouldn't be opportunity for these people to perform, to share their talents. So thank you for coming, and have a great rest of the day.